Yeah, I think programmers should unionize. And I think there's a lot of almost misinformation about what that means and why you might want to unionize. There's absolutely a thing within the tech and programming community. I think there's two things. One is that there's sort of this perception of like unionization is for like getting better pay, things like that. And yeah, absolutely. It can be used for that, but it's also way more than that. Um, I really see I really see any, work environment as a default power imbalance, where your boss or bosses, the investors, whoever they might be, um, has the real power in the relationship. Um, so as if you're in an industry where you're really in demand and there's a supply demand imbalance, you have more inherent power. And I think that's where programmers have often been when it comes to software. So we have been able to have certainly much better work environment, much better pay than people in a lot of industries. But I think that we often overlook a lot more negatives about the current setup, the current power imbalance. And yeah, I don't want to discount the fact that there are a number of tech workers that are highly paid with really good benefits and things are great for them. I'm not saying that's not true. Um, but I think there's way more to unionization. Like I said in the hook, at the very beginning, um, what else? Why else might you want to unionize? And I think when it comes to software, one thing that I have heard from nearly every programmer is how dissatisfied they are with, I think, a few main things. Some being uh, focused around the work environment, of course, and sort of feeling. I think what I get a lot is people feel insecure, and that's not good. That's not healthy. It causes people a lot of stress in their personal lives. Or maybe you get paid a lot, but it comes with really long hours and it's um, not enjoyable, soul sucking work. And you would like to have, maybe you're okay with less pay, but better work life balance. But that's just not how the place you're at operates. You don't have that freedom. And I've heard this countless times. I think most programmers I've talked to are like, yeah, I would much rather work less, get paid less, and do more with my life. But that's just not, your boss is not really interested in that, I think, for a lot of reasons. Um, but I think there's also another huge aspect that we don't talk about enough. And that is the work that we are essentially forced to do as engineers, as programmers, as developers. Most programmers that I know uh, get discouraged about the work that they have to do, including things like data mining users or just generally working on features that actively make our users' lives worse, that make the user experience worse, or we're forced to work on a schedule that doesn't allow us to do a good job, that doesn't allow us to write good software, that detracts from the long-term success. I think that's a big part of it. As the people actually building stuff, we can see, oh yeah, this code needs more investment and it needs to be maintained better. It needs to be upgraded, needs to be fixed. We need to focus on security because, like, we don't want to be responsible for writing code that ends up, causing somebody to crack into the system and steal our users' data. Like, that's just nobody really wants that. But we're often forced to do and create these things that we don't like. I've talked to a lot of people in the ad tech industry, especially, who basically have told me, like, yeah, I just kind of have to like to survive in this industry, I just have to suspend all of these feelings. So much of what I have to do on a daily basis, whether it's data mining users or spying on users or trying to trick them into providing information or trying to just extract information from so many different sources sort of secretly, like I just can't do my job if I'm worried about the actual effect of this. And that's very sad and disappointing to me. Nobody wants to work in that kind of work environment. So when I talk about unionizing, I am looking at it in terms, especially those terms, correcting that power imbalance so that we as engineers can come back to our bosses and say, yeah, I know you want to do this to our users, but hey, let's, we don't, that is a short-term win maybe. Maybe we make some money in the short term, but it's not something we enjoy working on and it doesn't make us happy. And part of having a job, especially a job that takes up so much of our lives, is being happy in doing them. And so we can go to our bosses as a group and say, yeah, we don't want to do that. What you're telling us to do or asking us to do is not good for people, not good for the planet, whatever it might be. Can we investigate some other potential solutions? Like, nobody's going into this being like, oh, we just want the company to not make any money. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if we come together as a group, we can demand to find solutions that work for everyone, including us as workers, including the end users, and including the company. So it's no longer just the boss being able to decide what direction things go in or what we have to work on. It becomes about finding a solution that works for everyone. So to me, that's a huge, huge reason why I think it could be really beneficial for software engineers and to unionize.